ranking member for his Q&A.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, before I start my questions, I ask unanimous consent to submit a statement from Max Richtman, the President and CEO of the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, that the statement be submitted into the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. So just a few different points that I want to kind of drill down on. First, we had this conversation about 2033 versus 2035. Some of the confusion might be that the projections from CBO just a couple of years ago were that we had until 2033. We have gotten good news of late, both when it comes to Social Security and Medicare, that actually we have a couple more years of full solvency, 2035 Social Security, 2036 when it comes to Medicare. That is because of stronger economic growth than was projected just a couple of years ago. So did you want to speak about that and draw the link between the two and why it is that now we do have until 2035 and 2036 respectively instead of a date that is closer?
I think over that time period, the improvement we've had is largely because of the economy. There's been improvements in productivity and the labor force that has brought in more revenue and it has resulted in an increase in cost. And also employment rates have been very strong. And one of the things that's been really good is, as mentioned already, with the retirement of the baby boom generation upon us, elders are working to higher ages now, which is a very, very positive effect.
So it's not just in Congress that. So I don't know if you have anything you wanted to add to that.
There's a very similar story on the Medicare HI Trust Fund as well. Just 4 years ago, the trustees were projecting that the HI Trust Fund would become depleted in 2026. And as you noted in the 2024 report, the depletion date is now 10 years later, 2036. That is a dramatic change, and there has been a dramatic change in the underlying finances of the program, both on the income and on the expenditure side. On the expenditure side, the projections from 2020 to 2036, the point of where we're now depleted, projecting HI depletion date, expenditures are now projected to be 3.2% lower than what they were just 4 years ago in the 2020 trustees report. At the same time, the income projections are up 11.6%. And so there's just a dramatic change in the income projections coming into the HI Trust Fund.
Yes, quickly before, because I want to get to my next topic. Yeah.
If I could just add, actually the Social Security combined trust fund reserve depletion date has been projected within the range of 2033 and 2035 for the last 13 years. We're at the top end of that now, so it is more positive, but it's been a very stable projection.
Well, whether it's Medicare or Social Security, obviously the good news of this strong economy obviously helping us and giving us more time to grapple with this issue here in Congress. Now, let me transition to immigration. Very simply, does immigration help or hurt the financing of Social Security and Medicare?
Well, let me start at least. Immigration typically is for people who are in their 20s to maybe late 30s. So generally speaking, when people enter the country as immigrants, along in many cases with children, but people of working age tend to be of younger age. Therefore, when they come to the country, they tend to come here for economic opportunity and enter the labor force, and that's very much a positive. That actually helps us with having more revenue coming in. Eventually, they will develop insured status and be able to get benefits.
Although not necessarily all of them. We will have some people who are actually literally paying into the system, but will actually never receive benefits decades later.
Absolutely. And another positive is that people enter in their 20s, 30s, et cetera, as immigrants. They may have children along the way, and that adds to the births that we have in our country that helps solve some of our problem with the low birth rates.
Especially given every country in the Western world is challenged from a birth rate perspective and will increasingly be challenged over the next 40 to 50 years. We discussed this separately, it turns out. I mentioned this in my opening remarks, and you also touched on it as well. But I just want to make it, again, crystal clear for everyone. Social Security does not add one dime to our national debt. Can you just briefly, again, explain why that is?
Well, that's exactly right. Social Security does not have any authority in the law to have any borrowing. Again, it can only spend, the money that goes into the trust funds is dedicated just to go in the trust funds, and it can be used only for one purpose, for paying expenses of Social Security. It can't be used for any other reason. This is because of the laws that you all have passed. Again, any money that comes into the trust funds and builds up reserves that we have now, the $2.8 trillion, actually helps cover some of the roughly $35 trillion of overall debt we have. If we spend down the trust funds, that doesn't increase the total debt subject to limit. It just simply means that it gets shifted from a little bit less of it, or over time less of it, being covered by the monies that are owed by the general fund of the Treasury to future beneficiaries, to more of it being covered by borrowing directly from the public. But both of those borrowings are both in the public interest, obviously.
Thank you, and I'll yield back.
You still have 3 more minutes, I think.
No.
that's a joke.
Oh, okay, all right.
The gentleman yields. The gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Grothman, is recognized.
I thought you not sitting in the chair, you weren't.